Xeyrius Williams coming off a nice performance against Florida. Here is Byers. He'll launch, and that one will go through. Michael Byers.
Michael Byers with a great pump fake. He showed the basketball, was able to take his time, and when he's able to do that, the three ball is usually money.
So Marshall goes in front. Ali on the drive and cut off there by Byers. Gets it into the lane, and here is Reese up and in. Come on, Reese out of Oakland, California. Scored in double figures 3 times this season. He averages 7.4. Jansen Williams from the corner goes in and out.
Cameron Reese, real physical-looking athletic player.
Banks, the bouncer, down low, and Reese will put it through. So Reese has an early 4. And the Thundering Herd will throw it away.
Reese, a real quick leaper around the basket.
Here is John Gross, the head coach of the Zips, and he's in his 3rd season. Coached in the MAC at Ohio and then took the job at Illinois.
Great. Good call, referee Daryl Smith, right on top of it. Illegal pick. You know, sometimes, Mark, you can blame that on the point guard. As the point guard, Jackson just looked and said, my fault. Jackson left before the pick got there, causing a foul on his teammate.
And Marshall University Hall of Famer Dan D'Antoni. So both of these coaches know how to get teams to the big dance.
Yes, they do. And Akron has a little West Virginia flavor over there.
Yeah,
on
they
the
sure
bench.
do.
A former assistant of mine, Rob Fulford, who built Huntington Prep, as Tavion Kinsey hits a nice jump shot. Built Huntington Prep to one of the powerhouses in the country, and he's just worked his way up the ranks, and a tremendous assistant coach over there, Rob Fulford.
Yeah, that was a great hire by Coach Gross. From the outside, Williams trying to hit the 3, can't get it to go, but there is Lauren Christian Jackson will follow. Akron lead to 5. There's Kinsey, got that bucket a minute ago. Kinsey had 14 against Florida, and Iron Bennett, big guy who had 16 against the Gators. Can't get it to drop. Christian Jackson launches and swishes the 3.
Jackson really good off the dribble, able to get his feet set, quick release, knocks down the 3.
13 3-pointers on the season for Jackson. Kinsey trying to knock down just his 3rd, but couldn't get it to drop through. John Gross getting set to make a substitution with Tyler Cheese, who leads the team in scoring. Here's a pass down low. They'll kick it out as Dang Riak is into the game. And this shot missed momentarily by Williams, but then taps it back up and in.
That's the 2nd time already this game that Williams was able to get the 2nd jump before any of the Herd players got off their 1st jump and able to tip the basketball in the.
Williams has 4 points in the game. Akron leads early on here by 8, and Jansen Williams can't get the shot to drop. And the ball goes off the foot of Tavion Kinsey, and that will lead us to a break here between the Zips and the Thundering Herd of Marshall. Akron out to a 13-5 advantage over the Thundering Herd here at the Cam Henderson Center.
Akron off to a really hot start, scoring on almost every possession, going 6 for 10, but 2 of those misses, they were able to get the offensive rebound.
Back in Huntington in a moment. Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, along with two-time NAIA National Coach of the Year, Bob Bolin and Mark Martin. Delighted you could be with us for the action here tonight between the Zips of Akron and the Thundering Herd of Marshall. The officials, Daryl Smith, Donnie Epley, and Jabir Walker. And I know for you, Bob, and your years of coaching, you see these officials, you ran into a lot of these guys down through the years.
Oh, Daryl Smith, he was one of the best refereeing tonight's game. He refereed the national tournament a lot in Kansas City for the NAIA, refereed a lot of games in Kentucky, and he's been a Division I official now for 25 years. Knows how to handle coaches, always had a good rapport with the coaches.
As mentioned in our open, this marks the 28th time the teams have played. Akron leads 14-13. Akron had won 7 straight. Marshall has taken the last 2 games. So some new players into the game for the Zips. They've got Greg Tribble, number 2, from the outside, and landing yet another three-pointer is Lauren Christian Jackson, the junior, out of Chicago. Started his career at Long Beach. He had 20 points against Louisville. I think we know where the Cardinals are right now in the latest rankings.
Oh, Akron's been out there with the best in the country, and you can tell they look like a very poised team, and Jackson can shoot that basketball when he's open.
Iron Bennett works hard and scores against Dang Riak.
The big fellow with the soft left-handed jump hook.
All right, now watch this guy, number 4, Tyler Cheese. 16.6 per game out of Albany, Georgia.
Again, Daryl Smith, I talked about him earlier. He's not going to miss that down low. Riak lifted the pivot foot and traveling violation.
Here's Riak out of Melbourne, graduate student. Started his career at East Carolina. He was injured in the 2015-16 season. He's an elite defender. Michael Byers, McKenzie. And Jared West is Marshall, decked out in the all black. Akron going with the gold uniforms, and nice job there by West as he missed the shot but managed to retrieve it, and we have a foul called on the Zips.
All right, the Zips, they showed you there early. They're going to double off of Jared West into the post and try to rotate out of it. So they're not going to let the Herd take multiple dribbles in the post area. They're going to double, make him kick it out, and rotate men.
Foul was called on Tyler Cheese, his first, and a good job there. West trying to get it in and batted down by Williams.
Akron does a lot of things defensively. For example, they're putting their tall leaper on the out-of-bounds man, taking it out. Now, Marshall may have to adjust and have a taller player take the ball out of bounds on the OB unders.
Greg Tribble out of Winton Woods High School in Cincinnati, and played right here in town at Huntington Prep. On the move, shot would not go by Williams.
Wonder who recruited him.
He just talked about Rob Fulford. Here's Jared West driving through traffic and couldn't get it to go through. And I believe they're going to get Bennett for a call. They are. It'll be his first, and it's the team's first.
Here, Jared West on the drive, a little short on the rebound, and a loose ball foul on the big guy, Iron Bennett.
Michael Byers will check out for Marshall, and Darius George, number 21 out of Staunton, Virginia, will check in, the two-time 2A Player of the Year in the state of Virginia. Cheese dribbles it across the timeline with the left hand, then pulls up and knocks it down, but had a whistle before that shot.
I had him stepping on the inbounds line, or stepping across the line, should I say. Out of bounds, Herd takes possession.
Here's Kinsey trying to get it to Jansen Williams, and the ball is going to be last touched by the Zips, and it will be Marshall's basketball.
Now, if you see the coaching staff really cheering on that alley-oop defensive play, that was one of their keys. Stop the OB lob coming from the corner.
You get a good look there. John Gross did such a fabulous job up the road at Ohio. Got the Bobcats to the Sweet 16. And took that job at Illinois, now back in the MAC. Kinsey looking for Bennett, and he was tangled up there with Reese.
Bennett doing a good job of setting down in the post and showing his numbers to the offensive player, and Reese could not get around him. Bennett drew that foul and did a great job.
That's the second foul on Reese.
And already, I'm sorry, Mark, Coach D'Antoni switched the out of bounds, man.
Yeah, he sure did.
After that first turnover. You know, people, you got to see the subtle things that happen during a game.
Well, Reese checks out. Jaden Sales, number 23, checks in. Driving is West. Couldn't get it to fall through. Here comes Tribble dashing across the timeline for Akron. Zips the pass into the corner. Ali, who's back in, and now Tribble is wide open. And his shot would not go through. Marshall down 16-7 here to Akron, looking for some offense. West to Bennett. Bennett and Tribble.
Got a double foul here. Bennett was posting up hard. Tribble was fighting him off. I don't know if anybody's ever happy with the call of a double foul, but and right here, let's see. Bennett's posting up hard. Tribble had him wrapped up around the hip, and now with Tribble being down, they're going to go look and see if there's contact to the head of Tribble, and Coach D'Antoni is not happy with them looking at that. He doesn't think it should have been a double foul at all. And if you look, Tribble has Bennett wrapped around the waist. A good look here by our camera crew. Right here. Now look, see the left hand wrapped around. That's a foul right then. And there is contact, but it looks to me that Bennett's trying to extend his arm to give the passer a shot to throw the ball to. So I look for the refs to look at that, say it's incidental contact to the head, and go ahead and play.
Well, that's going to take Bennett out of the game for Marshall. He has 2 fouls here, and we're at the 12:26 mark of this first half.
And if you look, I mean, our camera crew had that shot perfect. And if I think that's the same shot that the referees are looking at there. And that's what it looked to me, incidental contact. And then he's still not going to be happy with the foul call. He's thinking he's just spreading out to get the ball open. Maybe they'll give us an explanation.
Goran Miladinovic is going to check in for Marshall, number 50. To get that explanation from the officiating crew.
Oh, here he comes. Here comes Daryl Smith.
Daryl Smith going to come over and talk to Bob Boland.
Okay, thank you. Okay, double foul as called. No contact to the head area, no technical foul, but a double foul on the play. So the ball goes back to the point of interruption. Marshall had the ball, so they'll take it out underneath. And again, Coach D'Antoni's moved away from Jared West taking it out because of the defensive pressure applied by Akron.
Darius George will get it in to Jared West. So it's West, Miladinovic, George, Kinsey, and Jansen Williams for the herd. And up it goes to Miladinovic, and he couldn't get it to drop through. Akron on the attack. This is Sales, who checked in a moment ago. Quick hands there. And here comes George the other way for the Thundering Herd. George flipping it up.
Called basket good. And I believe, offensive foul. Ooh, I'd like to take another look at that. I thought the heels were definitely in the restricted circle. Let's see what we got here. George driving. He was out of the restricted area, but it did look like the defender was falling back before the contact. A lot of people here think that should have been an and one.
Sales, the man who drew the charge. Cheese. Double teamed. Rifles it cross court. Jackson flips it up and in. Well, Jackson's had a hot hand here in the first half.
And just got back in, just was inserted back into the game. I mean, he comes off the bench and still warm.
Averaging 14.7 a game.
And he already has 10.
Miladinovich, and now they get it to Jansen Williams straight away. Three-pointer just wouldn't drop. The Sales was there, but they say last touched by Marshall. And we head to a break. Zips 18, Thundering Herd 7 here in Huntington. First game of December for both the Thundering Herd of Marshall and the Zips of Akron. And how about number one so far for Akron, Bob Bowen?
Lauren Christian Jackson. He's 4 for 4 from the field, 2 for 2 from three-point land, has 10 points in 9 minutes. He's averaging 14 a game, and he is lighting it up in the Henderson Center. Yeah, he's hit the threes, a nice stop and pop there. Off to a tremendous start.
Came into the game averaging 14.7. So with those 2 threes, he now has 14 on the season. And back to work. Goes John Gross's Akron Zips. They lead Marshall 18-7. And how about Jackson again? Well,
jinxed him. First miss of the game.
Cam Brooks Harris, number 24, got the rebound. He checks into the lineup for Marshall. Also in for the Thundering Herd, number 15, Marko Šarenac. Young man from Serbia, Brooks Harris out of Zanesville. We have a whistle and a foul. And it's going to go against Tyler Cheese.
Cheese does not want to come out of the game picking up that foul. Marshall doing a good job of trying to take advantage of Jackson's size, but Akron, again, very well coached. When Jackson was posted up, they ran the double team at him.
So that's the 15th foul on Akron. That's Cheese's second. So back into the game is Ali, number 24 for the Zips, and Miladinovich working against Riak, and Riak commits the foul. His first.
Riak with a very poor foul there. Dinovich was kind of out. Miladinovich was out of position. That would have been a very hard shot to make. He wanted to go to the jump hook, couldn't get there. And Riak fouled him right across the arm.
Miladinovich misses the free throw. He came into the game 3 for 7. Will nail the second.
Matching his jersey number, 50% on the year from the line. And I feel that's just being a freshman early. His form, he should be a much better free throw shooter than he has been thus far this season.
Here's Jackson. How about the little hook shot?
He's been on the playground a little bit, the little baby hook.
He's got game again out of Chicago, Illinois. Started his career at Long Beach. Brooks Harris in trouble. Šarenac gets it to Tavion Kinsey. Here's George on the drive, and George going between a couple of defenders, and he'll draw the foul.
Great job by Darius George attacking the basket. Jump shots are not going down, and George able to hit the gap, go strong to the basket, draw the contact, and get to the line for 2.
Xeyrius Williams commits the foul, his first, team foul number 7. Darius George at the line, and we'll roll that one through. George coming into tonight's game, averaging 4.5 points per contest. He's now 5 of 13 at the free throw line and knocked them both through. So Marshall's made 3 consecutive free throws. It's a 20-10 Akron lead.
Marshall with Kinsey as the only starter on the floor right now.
Straight away, Williams would just stood there and admired it. And knocks it down. 3 threes in the game for Akron.
And Jackson calls that. Drew the double team with the nice penetration, able to kick it out for the 3.
Kinsey floating through the lane. Comes up empty. Jackson. And Williams just hit that big 3. Chanel Banks is back in. Marshall has not had a field goal in over 5 minutes.
Oh,
well,
Jackson.
What a nice pass by Jackson to Riak, who slams it through.
Mark, when you're getting point guard play like that, he's scoring the ball, he's drawing double teams, he's dropping off dimes. I mean, he's playing a tremendous game. And then his defensive pressure is also tremendous.
15-point advantage. Miladinovic finally breaks that field goal drought for the Thundering Herd. Miladinovic with 3 points in the game. 25-12 Akron as Lauren Christian Jackson brings it across the timeline, lets it fly.
That was a great drive on the other end by Brooks Harris. Marshall's having more success when they drive to the basket and create.
Kinsey puts it up and it won't go through. Quick break again for Kinsey. Williams wanting to back in against George, fades away, but Riak there with the rebound to Banks. Long range for Jackson. Wouldn't fall, but he saves it, gets it to Williams, and Williams pops the 3. Boy, Akron just keeps it alive.
They're just so much quicker to the loose balls, and Coach D'Antoni's really frustrated with that. I mean, Akron just dominating play right now.
And Jackson negotiates in there. Here's Ali in trouble. Bouncer to Banks.
It's not real pretty right now. The ball bouncing everywhere. And a shot clock violation as Marshall played really good defense.
Yeah, Marshall tight defense there. Breaking the action. Zips by 13 over the Herd. It's a 25-12 advantage for the Akron Zips with head coach John Gross, graduate of Taylor University. Came into tonight's game 216 career wins. Again, he's been a head coach at Ohio, Illinois, and now Akron.
Marshall's just struggling to put the ball in the basket this evening. Marshall only shooting 25% with 4 made field goals. And Akron's playing really good defense, but Marshall has also missed easy opportunities. So with the style of play Marshall plays, the 13-point deficit can be made up very quickly, but they got to start making shots and executing.
Davion Kinsey kicks it into the corner to Xeyrius. His shot won't drop.
And as a coach, right there, you got the right shot. I mean, great shot, wide open. Now that's unacceptable. Loose ball that bounces off the ground, tip in by Tribble. Marshall has to go after the ball more aggressively.
An outstanding job there by Tribble. Gets his first basket of the game. 5 different players now have scored for the Zips. And how about Darius George launching and connecting the three-pointer? That's his 4th of the season.
George had those feet. So that's 2 straight possessions that Marshall's got a great look at the basket. They were able to hit one of them.
Marshall's second three-pointer of the game. Akron has 3. Into the game is Luke Thomas for the Thundering Herd.
Ali with the right cross. 3-pointer.
Ali now on the board.
See, that's what Kinsey can do. Kinsey can get off the ground so high that if he just gets, it doesn't matter which foot, he jumped off the right foot and shot right-handed that time. But he has a knack for doing that. It's good to see him get close to the basket to get a gift.
Here's a
that
steal.
may pick up the Herd.
Ball over the place, and Kinsey picks it up. Gets it to Cam Brooks-Harris, who got the Herd the ball. And here's Xeyrius driving and scoring and is fouled.
And that's contagious. You know, he saw Kinsey go to the basket. Now Xeyrius says, well, he got to the basket, I can get to the basket. And then when you get to the basket a few times, the defense will collapse, and then those threes become much easier. They become step-in threes, so it's all tied together. So Marshall able to hit a 3 and then get to the basket 2 straight possessions.
Xeyrius will go to the line, physically gifted player, according to his head coach, Dan D'Antoni. 6'7", 200-pounder, and knocks it down. So Xeyrius now 8 for 12 this season at the free throw line. And Marshall gets it to 10 at 30-20. Here's Cheese on the attack, and Cheese a little out of control with the dribble, and that will give the ball to the Herd.
Herd on a little run, and then you look over there, and Jackson was getting a break, and he's not getting one right now. Back in the game.
So Cheese checks out, Reese checks out. So Akron goes with Tribble, Williams, Jackson.
Look, another to the basket. 3 straight possessions, Marshall able to get in there and shoot a layup.
Banks and Ali round out that Akron lineup for you. And here's Ali on the drive. Missed the shot, but got it back.
Quick leapers. They're so quick with their second jump.
So Kinsey picks up the personal. That's his first, and that's team foul number 4 on the Thundering Herd here with 5:33 to go, and each team going to pay a visit to the bench in this 28th meeting between the Thundering Herd and the Zips. And Akron leads it by a count of 30-20.
Marshall cut the lead. The biggest lead was 13. Marshall's got it down to a 10-point game. Would love to get into the half within 5. It's been a very competitive contest. Marshall just hasn't shot the ball well. Akron's a very good team on both ends of the court. They've been on the court with the best teams in the country. Marshall coming off a very close game at Florida. So both of these teams have seen the best teams in the country. So I look for them to settle down and the balls to start going through the basket a little easier.
Akron making its second trip into the mountain state of West Virginia as they faced off with the Mountaineers of West Virginia earlier in the season, and a shot would not drop for the Zips, and here comes Marshall back on the attack.
set call on the out-of-bounds play by Akron. Marshall did a great job defending the lob.
Kinsey, turnaround from the free throw line, going high as Williams for the rebound. Marshall had a chance there to cut it into single digits, and now here's Jackson doing his thing. Cam Brooks-Harris cleans it up on the board, and boy, that will go against Sharinitz.
Yeah, easy call. Sharinitz, the pesky Jackson there just coming up, and Sharinitz just angling towards him, putting the arm out, extending the left elbow. Easy call for the official.
First foul on Sharinitz. And now Darius George and Williams collide, and another foul called against Marshall.
And Coach D'Antoni not pleased with the defense there. You got to get down, move your feet, cut off angles. That time Darius George threw his shoulder into the offensive player. Foul called. Miladinovic is playing over here tonight, so you got to get all the way to that X and check in. Coach D'Antoni went to put him in. He got excited and just ran on the court. Good job of officiating, bringing him back and saying you got to check in here.
Cameron Reese will check back in for Akron, number 5, and Tribble, number 2, goes out. Thomas picking up Jackson. Jackson zips it out there to Williams. Bouncer to Reese. Reese going to drive into the lane against Miladinovic. Akron comes up empty. Here comes Marshall. Tavion Kinsey, too strong on the three-point attempt. Reese backing in on the block, and boy, Williams comes out of nowhere and scores up. Williams now with 9 in the game, and the Zips go up 12.
Defensively, Miladinovic has to see the man and the ball.
Cam Brooks-Harris' shot rims out of there.
Lost sight of the man, easy backdoor layup, great pass interior by Reese.
Here is Banks letting it fly. Miladinovic gets it into the hands of the Thundering Herd, and here will be Thomas firing it up from the corner. Shot no good. Whistle on the rebound.
The foul there was on Brooks-Harris. I think he was going to help the Akron player up, and he tossed the ball at him. Good job of officiating, stopping both teams.
All right, so Brooks-Harris with the foul. Zips in front by 12. The Zips of Akron 32, the Thundering Herd of Marshall 20. Marshall in the record of 2-4, Akron 5-2. Here's Thomas's three-pointer that was off the mark, and the foul called by Brooks Harris.
Yeah, small push there by Brooks Harris. Refs could have called a technical for Banks tossing the ball at him. They didn't. I would think it was a good job of officiating. Just let the players play and keep cooler heads. They're talking to both players now. Both players seem fine with what happened.
So Banks will go to the line. Hails from the city of Las Vegas. 4 of 7 at the free throw line. Coming in, misses there. Marshall with the basketball. Trying to cut into that lead. Thomas again rifles. And Banks with the rebound.
Thomas, a pretty left-handed stroke. Looks like it's going in when it leaves his hand. 0 for 2 now in the evening.
And a young man that grew up just across the river, Proctorville, Ohio, played at Fairland High School, and here is Williams. Boy, when he sets and releases, it is a thing of beauty.
Like I say, the acronym BEEF, balance, eyes, elbow, follow through. He knocks the bottom out of the net.
Has 12 in the game. Cam Brooks Harris with a nice drive and uses the glass for his first bucket of the game.
Marshall again able to get all the way to the basket with their length. It's going to open up some threes, but somebody from Marshall has to step up and make the threes. Marshall 2 for 11 on the evening. Hard to win that way.
Ali looking for Williams. Williams zips around Sharinich, but the ball is poked away there by Miladinovic. But Akron came back up with it, but now they're going to call Reese for the travel.
Now the other two refs let that go. And now even though Reese was on his knee, if he started the dribble before he stood up, that is not a travel. And that's what Reese is telling his coach. He said, I dribbled before I stood up. I think Reese may be right on that one.
Reese and Ali are out of the game. Sales is back in. I believe Tribble has checked back in.
Marshall does a very good job of the pass out of the 1-4 set to the interior guy, and then the little pitch back. And Akron reaching, easy foul call. Jared West goes to the line for the bonus.
Now Thomas will head out. Kinsey is back in. West is at the line. Jackson committing the foul. So team foul number 9, and Jared West cannot get it to go through. There's Jackson. Little floater, Sales with the rebound.
And traveling call, got the rebound on the first jump. Shuffled both feet. Traveling call. Marshall's just trying to get something going offensively, just so stagnant. When they get an open shot, struggling. The one thing they've been able to do is drive to the basket and get some layups.
Miladinovic over to West. West wants to attack. West, and that is swatted away by Sales. Sales, the junior, 6'9", 235, Cincinnati Sycamore High School. Played in 21 games last year before an injury cut his season short. And Antoni.
Sales had something to say after that block, and the referee let him know. Any taunting will be met with a quick technical foul.
And here is Jackson again. Those quick hands, and Jackson lets it fly. A steal and turns it into a three-pointer.
He has been the difference in the basketball game thus far this evening.
A bucket for the Herd and a foul.
Jared West able to get all the way to the basket for the opportunity with the and one. And that's 4 of the last 5 baskets for Marshall has been players driving, getting all the way to the rim. Well, now the defense is starting to collapse. Somebody has to step up and make a three-pointer.
West, his first bucket of the game, and sinks the free throw. So it's a 38-25 Akron advantage. Lauren Christian Jackson. Gets it over to Tribble. Tribble will back out and now go to work and zips around Miladinovich and puts up a tough shot, and it goes through.
Had the English on the ball. Looked like it was going to be an air ball, and the spin on the ball caught the backboard right back in the basket. Jared West really trying to keep his team in the game. Nice step back three for Jared.
Guns that one through. Marshall's third three of the game. So West hadn't scored, now has scored 6 last couple of times down the floor. Under a minute to go here, and once more there is Williams.
Can't let him shoot. I mean, you can't come off of him. No help. He's too hot. Akron in a double drag there, and the point guard ignored both ball picks.
15 points for Williams. So Williams with 15, Jackson with 15. 30 of their teams, 43 points. Ali will head in. Tribble comes out with 29 seconds to go here in the first half. Kinsey looking, gets it to West.
Marshall with a 7-second differential in the game clock and the shot clock.
Jared West will pull up, three-pointer on its way, and it goes through.
Jared West with the last 8 for the Herd.
43-30. Here's Jackson. Cut off there by Brooks Harris. Foul will be called on Cam Brooks Harris, his second.
Brooks Harris did a great job of staying in front of Jackson. He's asking the ref what he did wrong there. I think they called him for a reach late. When you do that good of a job staying in front of somebody as quick as Jackson, you can't take a chance on the reach right at the end.
Jackson at the free throw line and connects.
Harris and Miladinovich have to box out here. Akron was working really hard for the rebound on that first one.
Jackson over 86% from the line.
You see that coaching move there by Coach Gross. At 1.9, he makes a substitution right now, so Marshall couldn't get the ball out of the net quickly. Now he's able to set up his defense, so Marshall has to throw one up from half court.
Jackson heads out. Brooks Harris, Kinsey is going to let it fly, and that will hit the backboard, and that will do it for the first half of play. And the Zips, they got the first lead. Marshall took a 3-2 lead, and since then the Zips have owned the advantage. Darius George with one of Marshall's three-pointers. Thundering Herd had 4. But boy, Williams, he's been red hot.
On fire.
Akron on top, 45-30 at the break. It is halftime here in Huntington. Marshall and Akron and the Zips from the Rubber City on top of the Thundering Herd from the River City by a count of 45-30. 28th meeting all time. Well, Akron's had a very competitive schedule. We talked about facing off with Louisville, number 1 in the country, and a West Virginia team that is presently undefeated. And here's what lies ahead for John Gross's crew in the month of December following the showdown here with the Thundering Herd. They'll be back home at the James A. Rhodes Arena there in Akron to face off with Southern on the 8th. That will be this Sunday. And then they'll face off with the Mountain Lions from Concord University, the school right here in West Virginia in the Mountain East Conference. And then they'll play Tulane in the DC Holiday Hoops Fest. And then it will be determined as to who they will play on the 21st. And then they will finish it up in the month of December by taking on the Minutemen of UMass. For the Thundering Herd, they got Toledo this coming Sunday, then Bluefield State on the 11th. They'll play at Morehead State on the 16th, and then Eastern Kentucky on the 19th, and Northern Iowa will be entertaining the Thundering Herd on the 22nd, and then Marshall will close out the schedule in the month of December. They'll be playing in Cleveland, and they'll go up against Duquesne. Right now, all that the Thundering Herd or the Zips are concerned with each other, and the Zips right now owning a 45-30 advantage. It was a 2-0 lead for the Zips. Marshall got it to 3-2, and since then the Zips have owned the lead throughout. We'll come back and talk more about this 28th meeting all time between the Zips and Marshall here at the Cam Henderson Center in Huntington in just a moment. College basketball coming from the River City here in the Cam Henderson Center. Back in a moment.
Are you ready to take the Herd to the next level? If you are, then you can join the campaign that's going to build a state-of-the-art baseball stadium, help turn Gullickson Hall into a practice facility for men's and women's basketball, and increase the big green endowment and erect a statue of the late great Hal Greer. You can be a part of history. For more information, contact the Big Green either by phone or online.
Back inside the Cam Henderson Center, it's a 45-30 lead for the Zips of Akron over the Thundering Herd of Marshall, along with two-time NAIA National Coach of the Year, Bob Bolin, and our great crew, Mark Martin. Delighted you could be with us here as these two teams play the first game in the month of December. And Bob Bolin, let's look at some scenes from the Zips here in the first half. And how about Mr. Jackson?
Lauren Kristen Jackson, able to stop and pop behind the three, catch and shoot three. barely moves the nets. He's been able to do it all. And then in transition, the only transition basket of the half, Jackson able to hit that.
Yeah, 17 points, and Williams not far behind with 15. Williams, he just stands there, launches, and it's been a thing of beauty watching him shoot the basketball from the outside as well. Each of those players with three-pointers in the first half. The Thundering Herd, buckets somewhat hard to come by at times, but boy, beautiful move there by Darius George.
Yeah, Marshall has been able to get their baskets close around the perimeter with Darius George stepping out, hitting the three there.
We saw Miladinovich earlier there, and then Shaw Rennett's here with a tough bucket and drew the foul. And Jared West got a three-pointer and then hit a close range two-pointer. Thought it was a three, but it ended up being a two. And here are the stats from this first half of action. What jumps out at you there, Coach?
Well, the field goal percentage. Akron shooting it at 47% and Marshall at 34%. That's a big difference. Also in the points in the paint, Akron has 23, Marshall 14. Those kind of things jump out at you. Both teams, Akron with 9 turnovers and Marshall with 6, but neither team able to muster many points off the turnovers.
Well, as you said, Marshall is the type of team that with the style of play they like, a 15-point deficit is not that far to overcome. But again, this John Gross team, they have come in here tonight and right at Marshall with a lot of playmakers.
Well, there was only one basket the entire first half in transition, and that was the three-pointer off the left-hand dribble by Jackson. Marshall has 0 points in transition. Akron is the better team in the half-court execution, so Marshall has to get this game up and down the court and get some easy scores.
Cheese is the team's leading scorer coming in for Akron, 16.6 a game. He had just 4 in that first half. Again, a lot of times you get the good point production, and that's what John Gross was telling us before the game. It's something he's pleased with. So he loves having 4 guys in double figures, and he says, my goal is always to have 5 in double figures. All right, it's the Zips and the Herd, 45-30 Akron, 94-84 in Morgantown, then defeated North Carolina Central, 57-47, South Carolina Upstate, 76-45, Youngstown State, 82-60, and then lost that game to Louisville, we mentioned, 82-76. Down to Merrimack, 64-47. They're 5-0 at home, 0-2 on the road. So looking for that first road win here tonight as they're up 15 on the Herd. Marshall started the season against Robert Morris, winning 67-60, then lost to Toledo 96-70. A Rockets team will face off again with this Sunday on the road. Then came a tough 10-point loss at Notre Dame, 74-64, a 76-66 setback against the College of Charleston here in Huntington. Then they downed Howard 91-63, and then again another close call with the Florida Gators on Black Friday in Gainesville. Lost that one 73-67. Quite simply, what's Marshall going to do to win this game? What's Akron have to do in order to keep the hammer down and pull out of here with the victory?
Well, first for Marshall, they got to start making open shots. They were able to get to the basket late in the half. Jared West hit a couple of open jumpers. Somebody else has to step up and make open jump shots. For Akron, they just have to keep executing in the half-court set and keep that ball in Jackson's hands. He creates for everybody.
All right, so the Thundering Herd will have the basketball to start it out here in this second half of play. They go with Kinsey, Bennett, George, Michael Byers, and Byers drives in, misses, and Jared West rounds out the lineup for Marshall. Akron.
Yeah, that's something. Perfect execution. Everything right, and then Marshall goes, takes it to the basket, loses control of the ball.
Xeyrius Williams, Chanel Banks, Lauren Christian Jackson, Ali in the lineup for the Zips, and Cameron Reese rounds it out here to start this second half, and here's Williams. Boy, I was just about to say, Bob, if they let him get on fire again this second half,
and Coach
it's going to be tough.
Yeah, Coach Antoni very upset there. I mean, the guy's shooting the lights out of the basket. You can't give him an open three. Kinsey, good mid-range jump shot.
Kinsey, he's got 6 in the game. And how about Williams, 18?
Oh, boy, his shot has just looked perfect. Really playing well.
Jared West will commit the foul, his first, team foul number 1 of the second half. So Akron now has its largest lead of the game. Cheese checks in, Ali heads out. Cheese wears number 4. Again, the team's leading scorer coming in, just had 4 in the first half, but they had other guys who could do some damage offensively. Reese is going to be called for a traveling violation, and it will be Marshall's basketball. Tavion Kinsey gets it to West. West forces it up, but West gets it to go.
He scored every which way. He's hit open threes, got all the way to the basket, now with a nice little leaner.
Reese going up, and he will be clocked.
Reese, a quick leaper, fearless around the basket.
Byers is first. Team foul number 2. And Reese can't get it to go through. Reese with 4 points in that first half. Gets that one through. 49-34. Akron on top of Marshall. Byers. West to Byers.
Oh,
back to West.
Crowd most thought he had an easy layup.
Byers to Bennett.
Iron Bennett doing a great job of sealing the defender, using his big body, and able to get a basket.
Well, Bennett with his second bucket.
And a technical foul.
Ooh.
And that'll be a personal foul. Bennett made a great move on this end. You got to let your game do your talking. Beautiful move. I mean, unstoppable down there. Nice, strong move. I know he's trying to get his teammates fired up, but the referees didn't like what he had to say to his opponent, and I see that eye from Coach D'Antoni. That hurts the team. That's his third personal. He's really playing well, and now it looks like he has to come out of the game, and they need him on the court right now. I mean, Coach D'Antoni, just like he always, he gives him 5. I'm sure he has something to say to him. Like, big guy, we need you on the court.
Well, they get the free throws, and then you get the basketball. Williams,
look at
nice
Williams
bouncer.
Basketball.
Reese just couldn't finish it off there. Here's George wide open, but it hits the back of the iron, and Williams goes up and brings it into the hands of the Zips. Cheese. Reese against Miladinovich, who was in there for Bennett, and Reese.
Beautiful up and under move. Took Miladinovich to the middle, head and shoulders fake, step through, easy layup.
7 for Reese. Kinsey's shot misfires. Speeding it across the timeline is Jackson, but taken away there by Jared West. West 7th all-time in steals is Jared West for Marshall. West back to George. George, a little finger roll, but couldn't get it to drop down through the basket, and back comes Akron.
Well, that was the first mistake of the game by Jackson, the turnover on that end. Let's see how he responds.
It's a nice screen
Gosh,
there
what a
from
pass.
Reese, and boy, fed it to Reese. Reese goes up for the slam, and down he goes. But there is contact made against the Herd.
Well, Akron has players, Mark. I mean, quick leapers, shoot. Look at that pass. Right through the gate. Strong move to the basket. Through the foul. I'll just say Akron has quick leapers inside. They're strong. They've been in the weight room. They have a tremendous point guard. They have people able to step out and make the jump shot. This is a quality team.
Miladinovic committed the foul, and here's Reese at the line and knocks it through.
But I guess you have to be a quality team to lose to the #1 team in the country by 6. I mean, they're solid. Their substitutes are solid. They play hard. They're very well coached, and they have recruiters like Rob Fulford and coaches like him. You know, he's doing a tremendous job.
So Reese will check out after he hits both free throws. Dang Riak checks in. Miladinovic out for Marshall. Cam Brooks-Harris coming in.
Coach D'Antoni really trying to motivate his squad. They're down 19 right now, and that's what they needed. Cam Brooks-Harris with the big 3. That's exactly what they needed on that possession.
4 threes now in the game for the Thundering Herd. Slicing through the defense, there is Tribble. And here is Riak, and Riak in the paint scores it.
And Tribble with the interior passing. Those are not easy passes. A little 4-foot bounce pass when you're dribbling on the baseline with your offhand. Great execution by the Zips.
Michael Byers. Now West. And boy, the ball just got away from him. And here comes Akron on the attack. Tribble. Back to Ali. And Ali out of control dribbling there. Marshall.
Look at that hustle.
With a hustle
Look
by
at that
the
hustle
Zips.
by- Oh, great hustle by
Alhanza.
Darius Jordan.
This is like watching a tennis match right now. Back and forth we go, and Akron back with the basketball.
You can tell when Jackson's out of the game for Akron. Now, yeah, I know what the officials are looking at the shot clock. It's on 16. They're trying to say the ball bounced back and forth. I would think the shot clock has to be better than 16 as Akron's up 18 on the Thundering Herd.
You talked earlier, Bob Bolin, about the recruiting by Akron. Rob Fulford, who was at Huntington Prep and built that great program right here in this city, and now on the staff of John Gross. And you have Dustin Ford, who was an outstanding player at Ohio, followed in the footsteps of his brother Gino. And, of course, their late father, Gene, was a great high school basketball coach in the state of Ohio at Cambridge, and later coached the Muskingum. Gino Ford's now the head coach at Stony Brook. And then they also have Robbie Prigden and Cole Pittis. So a great staff there. And, of course, Dan D'Antoni with Mark Klein and Scott Riggio and Cornelius Jackson, Neil Skaggs, two outstanding basketball staffs here going at it tonight. And right now, Akron on top, 57-39.
Great block by Brooks Harris.
Brooks Harris with the block. Jeremy Dillon has checked into the game for the Thundering Herd. He wears number 5, was the state player of the year in football, the Kennedy Award winner. When he was a junior, led his high school here in West Virginia, Mingo Central, to a state championship in Wheeling. And that's where 6 teams will be this weekend for state championship football in the Mountain State. A foul is called.
Those Bluefield Beavers down my way. Mark, on the basketball scene, Jansen Williams played the first 9 minutes, and he hasn't been back, and he's not on the bench right now. I don't know if he was hurt early in the contest.
Well, he did take that fall that Kinsey puts it up and in.
And, you know, that's a lot of experience. He can step out and shoot the ball. You know, with him not in the game, that doesn't help the Thundering Herd at all.
Well, never looks good too, and you know the player's not even on the bench.
Makes you think the injury, but he twisted that ankle or knee early in the contest, and he played 5 minutes after that.
Free throws by Kinsey, good, 57-41. Jackson works between the circles. Here's Williams. Jared West had to get up in a hurry. Williams is going to be wide open for a shot, but he fades away and can't get it to drop, and Cheese chases it down. Jackson can't deliver. Marshall comes back on the offensive end. And Brooks Harris flipping it up and putting it through. Good work there by Brooks Harris. He has 7 in the game.
That's one of those, that was an ugly move. Lost control of the ball, but you know what? When you fight and hang in there, good things happen.
All right. Marshall has chiseled it down to a 14-point deficit. Zips up 57-43 at the Cam Henderson Center.
Be sure you tune in your radio tomorrow morning. Billy C, Big John and the group, help you get started off as we get ready for the best country music all day long. Log in your radio to 93.7 The Dog.
Well, alongside my tag team partner, Bob Boland, and our great crew, Mark Martin. Delighted to have you with us here at the Cam Henderson Center. The Akron Zips leading the Marshall Thundering Herd 57-43. 13:30 to go in the basketball game, 28th meeting. All time between the two schools. Akron leads the series 14-13. Zips with the ball.
Marshall had Akron had a lead of 19 at the 16-minute 19 mark. Marshall's cut into that lead by 5 in the last 2.5 minutes. Marshall applying some full court man-to-man pressure right now. just trying to change the tempo of the game because Akron's really been able to execute in the half-court situation.
Banks. They work it down low and put up and in by Williams, who now has 20 points in the basketball game.
Williams got Jared West on him, had an 8-inch height advantage, took him right to the low post.
Jared West down to Cam Brooks Harris, and Harris puts it through. So Brooks Harris now with 9 points in the basketball game.
Jared West says, you take advantage of me on that end, I'll take advantage of you here. West uses quickness to get an open lane, and nice lob pass to Brooks Harris.
Brooks Harris had 7 in that game with Notre Dame. Foul called as Jackson drove in.
Beautiful. Off of the pick, didn't switch it quick enough. Jared West recognized it. Nice pass to Brooks Harris, and he decided, nah, I'm not going to dunk it. Let's just get 2 points for the team. Great play.
And Jackson is out, and Cheese has checked in, and Riak will get.
But that was great help defense by Cam Harris. He's looking up at the big screen wanting to see the replay. I thought he came in and got all ball from behind.
It's a Riak gets the foul call, and we'll go to the line. Riak, 4 points in the game. Dang Riak, 6'10". Shot is up and drops through.
Here comes. Let's see, Mark Cam Brooks Harris from behind. Ooh, on top of the ball. I believe Akron got a gift there. An early Christmas present for the Zips.
Riak up and in. Beautiful rotation. So Marshall works with George West. Bennett's back in. Jeremy Dillon in the game, and Kinsey and West trying to get it into Bennett. And that will go out, and it will belong to Akron. We were talking about, you mentioned those Bluefield Beavers. We were talking about West Virginia High School football state championships are this weekend. Of course, we're right here in the tri-state area, and there are 4 teams from Kentucky going to play in Lexington for state titles this weekend. And across the river, Ironton, Ohio, they're going to be up near Akron in Canton to play for a state championship this weekend. So a lot of great high school state championship football this weekend.
And then somebody from right around Huntington getting ready to go play Martinsburg.
Yes, Cabell Midland.
Ooh, that seems like the Martinsburg sentence. Boy, they're good.
There is Tribble, yeah.
Coach from Pineville, West Virginia, up there won 55 in a row.
And Dave Walker is the head coach at Martinsburg. They're trying to win their 4th in Cabell Midland from right here in Cabell County, and they're coached by a Marshall grad in Luke Sammons. Played football here for the Thundering Herd.
It'll be a battle.
Sharenitz is back into the game. Tribble at the line and can't get it to go. Bennett yanked down that rebound. Here comes Marshall. Still plenty of time. And well, yeah, no doubt about that one.
Yeah, Marshall needs to mix it up. They're either going to an all-power game or, well, I mean, if I'm coaching Antoni, and we're shooting 4 for 14 from three-point land, it's time to go to the inside game. Excellent hands in there by Bennett. Easy goaltender call. Once that ball hits the backboard, you can't touch it.
6 in the game now for Iron Bennett, who plays with 3 fouls. Cheese is on the floor for Akron with 3 fouls.
They need to go double. They're going to press and turn up the tempo. They need to go after it.
Banks trying to go coast to coast with it. Couldn't get it to drop. Pretty good defense there by Dillon, who also got the rebound. And then there is a collision on Marshall's end.
Great defense by Jeremy Dillon.
So Tribble with his second, number 2 with 2, and the Zip 61-47 over the Herd. It is a 61-47 count in favor of the Zips of Akron over the Thundering Herd of Marshall here at the Cam Henderson Center in Huntington. First basketball game in the month of December for both teams. Marshall trying to notch its third victory of the campaign. Akron its sixth. And Tavion Kinsey, Jeremy Dillon, Marco Sharinitz, Jared West, and Iron Bennett on the floor for Marshall wearing the black uniforms tonight. Kinsey up and in. So Kinsey is 3 for 3 at the line. Lauren Christian Jackson, Tyler Cheese, Greg Tribble. Out on the floor for Akron, Xeyrius Williams. And also Cameron Reese.
Mark, I just got word that Jansen Bennett's having flu-like symptoms, stomach issues, and he's not on the bench right now. So that's probably better than an injured knee or an injured ankle, but he's not looking like he's going to be available for the rest of this game.
22 points now. Yeah, it's a shame, Bob. And meanwhile, Lauren Christian Jackson, who has just been lights out here tonight, now has 22 in the game. And Akron coming up with the basketball once again, leading Marshall 64-49.
Well, Jackson is a leader, a scorer, a distributor. He's been able to do it all for the Zips.
Came into the game averaging 14.7, well over that. And here is Cheese. Well, we'd heard so much about Cheese prior to this game, and Cheese rifles into three, his first bucket of the game.
Akron able to get the mismatch. Bennett on the perimeter player and Jared West on the post player, and they took advantage of it from three-point land the last possession. There's Williams again. Can't be wide open. Well, maybe they should leave him wide open. It's the first brick he shot tonight.
He was off target there, but that has not been the case most of this game. Tavion Kinsey gliding in and scoring.
I think he's starting to find a niche. He can do that at will. I mean, when your vertical's in the high 40s and he has a good handle, a good enough handle to get there, I mean, that should be a go-to move for him. The jump shot should be the second move, and the fadeaway the last move.
He has 12 in the game, and away from the basketball, they got Reese for a foul. That's Reese's third. Reese has 9 points in the game, so Reese is going to come out, and Riak will head back out onto the floor for John Gross's crew. Here's Iron Bennett. Too strong off the glass the first time at Bennett. Boy, he is so nimble around the basket.
Oh, and great hands there. You know, to miss the first easy one, but able to go get it and put it back in. He has really improved since the beginning of the season.
Jackson will pull up from the wing, and a little bouncer wouldn't go, but Jackson has it back in his hands.
Got to go after the defensive rebound like they did the offensive rebound.
67-53, Williams. So he'll pull up. Left of the arc, couldn't get it to go. Riak had it, lost it, and
Riak brought the ball down, had 2 5'10" defenders on him, brought it down to their level.
Nice job by Sharinitz driving in, missed the shot. Bennett with the rebound, and a foul call.
And that was Sharinitz driving to the basket. Bennett's man had to come and help. That left the rebounding lane open for Iron Bennett.
Of course, we discussed Cheese only scoring for the first time a moment ago. Of course, a lot of that's been due to a foul situation tonight, and he just picked up his fourth. Team foul number 4 against the Zips here in this second half.
Yeah, when Williams and Jackson have combined for 42 of your 67 points, that doesn't leave but 25 left. And, you know, it's not been one of Cheese's best scoring game, but he hasn't forced the action. He's played within himself, and that's just signs of a veteran team. All right, down to 13. If there's going to be a run, it's going to have to be now.
Iron Bennett now has 9 in the game as he hit the second of 2 free throws. Marshall 10 of 13 at the free throw line. Jackson. Crowd wanted a walk, obviously. Here's Tribble in trouble, and the shot was blocked. Marshall down the floor, and Sharinitz caught it right in front of the Herd bench, and he's called for a travel.
You see the travel here. Catches it, 1, 2. Not sure about that one, Mark. Coach Antoni's sure. He said that wasn't even close.
Up 13. Akron goes back to work with the basketball. Banks in trouble. Banks with the bouncer. Reese and Bennett. Well, they battled for the positioning, and Bennett wins out. Lane violation. Marshall's ball.
Marshall's got that lead down to 13. Excellent defense on that end. Let's see what happens for the Herd on the offensive end.
Kinsey with a nice move, and Kinsey just couldn't get it to go through.
Kinsey with a $50 move with a 5-cent finish. Got to finish that one. That would have cut it to 11. Akron has not been as efficient in the last 5 minutes of this game, but that's an efficient play right there. Going to get the easy dunk.
Jackson lifting it up, and Reese slamming it through. Reese with 11 in the game. A lot of weapons on this Akron team. Shot no good there by West. And Reese with the rebound. Reese had 10 rebounds in that loss to West Virginia.
Oh, they have a solid 9-man rotation. Look at this. Everybody can play. Veteran team. I mean, they're a solid basketball team.
Well, a little discussion there after the foul was called. Dillon was whistled for the foul. We'll be back to Huntington. Zips up by 15.
Ladies and gentlemen, take a look at the video board for the Speedway high-speed play of the game. Brought to you by Speedway. That's the Speedway high-speed play of the game. Speedway, proud to be the official convenience store of the Thundering Herd.
.7:14 remaining in this basketball game between the Akron Zips and the Thundering Herd of Marshall, and it is the Zips leading 69-54.
Great pocket pass. Jeremy Dillon coming in, going after the basketball. Didn't see what happened there at the end of that. Bennett made a good play at the ball. Foul was called. Don't really know what happened, but no technicals. Reese will go to the line to shoot a pair. Mark Marshall's last basket came at the 9:52 mark, was a tip in by Bennett. Just been unable to score, and I think that, you know, I mean, you always have to watch the tape as a coach, but it looks like Marshall's been getting some easy shots, just not able to put the ball in the basket.
So Reese making it a 71-54 count. Marshall's lone lead came when it was a 3-2 game. And a reach in there by Banks, young man out of Las Vegas.
Yeah, Mark, Rob Forford gave me this before the game. Their keys on defense to take away open threes from what they perceive as shooters, to rebound, and to take away the corner lobs. And they've been able to do all three of those things defensively.
Pass into Banks, and Banks pass into Bennett, I should say. Right. Banks on the defense, and Bennett puts it in.
Iron Bennett, another field goal for the Herd. That's 11 points on the evening for Bennett.
And now Bennett will guard Reese.
And a carrying the ball violation. Dribbling the ball, if your hand gets under it, automatic call. Akron had 3 players cut back door at the same time. So obviously, if they're not double teaming the post, that's what they're going to do. But I don't think they want 3 of them cutting at the same spot.
Tribble and Ali head out. Banks, Jackson, Williams, and boy, another feed in there, and Bennett with his second straight bucket, 71-58.
Great pass by Kinsey, able to draw the double team. Doesn't always have to be a dunk. That was a good execution by the Herd.
Here's Williams attacking, and Jeremy Dillon reaching in, ties it up, and possession arrow belonging to the Zips.
Look at that, Kinsey pick, draws the double team for 1 second, and Iron Bennett able to beat the help from Cheese coming from the offside wing. Great pass, great finish by Iron Bennett.
React back in. Here's Banks launching and in and out. And Brooks Harris.
Yeah, Marshall, this is the 4th time Marshall's cut that lead to 13 in the last 6 minutes, and they've been unable to get over the hump. They've been going to Bennett the last few possessions. Let's see what happens here.
Bennett, Dillon, West, Cam Brooks Harris.
There's a double pick for West coming off the wing. Not able to execute the pass.
And Tavion Kinsey, that makes up your Marshall 5 at the moment. Riak, Jackson, Williams, Cheese, and Banks in there for the Zips. Jackson with the basketball. Jackson has scored 22 in the game. Williams not far behind. He knocks it in. And now Williams with 22.
Yeah, when you put a guard on Williams, he goes in the post. You put a big on him, he steps behind the 3. Excellent coaching by the staff of Akron.
And Jared West still fighting.
Oh, he's a fighter. There's no quitting him. Again, the lead's at 13.
Jared West has 12 in the game. Akron on top by 13.
13 has been the hump for the Herd.
Jackson rifles it out. Banks maneuvering into the lane, and he will draw the foul.
Number 5, Jeremy Dillon, his first.
Talked about that great family of basketball there for the Ford family.
On the line.
I thought that was out of Detroit. Banks misses the first one.
I saw Dustin Ford, show your age when you see a guy that played in the state basketball tournament in Ohio, and he's been coaching a while now.
You weren't around when Harry Ford was around, were you, Mark? Banks misses a pair, loose ball rebound. Jeremy Dillon down there fighting for it, and as the ball has bounced this way, It bounced Akron's way that possession.
And Banks couldn't get the free throws to fall. Still looking for his first points of the game. Here's Williams. He'll let it fly, and he's got it. Boy, he is something.
And when he has Bennett on him, he goes behind the three. When he has a guard on him, West on him, he goes into the paint.
Akron back up 16, and Iron Bennett travels with the basketball.
And so I guess you need to put a mid-range defender on Williams. Now they're going with Brooks Harris on him. Williams just smiles down there. I guess he'll try to take Brooks Harris inside as Marshall brings up their full court pressure. It's probably time for some running jumps and some gambles by the Herd, down 16 with 4:27. There's a in the ball in the corner. Now Kenzie's not looking. I guess they're not in the running jump. Oh, pick, call it.
Jackson maneuvers his way across the 10-second line. Picked up there by Cam Brooks Harris. Pass picked off. Jared West down to Brooks Harris to Kinsey.
Kinsey says, get on the poster, young man. Did they get? I know there wasn't another take.
Tavion Kinsey with 14 in the game, and Marshall down by that number here in Huntington to the Zips of Akron.
So far, the Herd's had 70 assists. Let's add 8 to that. That makes 780 total loaves of bread that are being donated. A big thank you to Heiner's Bakery for being a Herd hero and making our community an outstanding place to live. Tonight's HIMG blood count's been 4. We want to thank the folks at HIMG for their outstanding physicians for donating for every blood shot in a fight against heart disease.
Back inside the Cam Henderson Center. The Zips of Akron on top of Marshall by 14. Tavion Kinsey now with 14 in the game, Bob.
Jared West pushed it to Cam Brooks Harris, and watch out below when Kinsey explodes to the basket for the slam dunk, cuts the lead to 14, and every time Marshall gets to 13, it seems like Williams says, give me that ball, let me shoot a three, let me post somebody up. Williams has been terrific this evening.
Kinsey, a perfect 4 for 4 at the line, and he stays that way.
Now you may see a run and jump and double team by the Herd. They have to start taking some gambles. I thought somebody would release and go after it.
Kinsey leading Marshall with 15 points. Bennett has 13. West has 12. This is Cheese with the basketball. Goes to Riak, and the shot blocked by Bennett, but foul going to be called on Bennett, and that will do it for Iron Bennett.
Iron Bennett, let's look at that one, Mark. Here comes a beautiful interior passing. And look at Bennett. Left his feet, able to regroup, get there. Your thoughts, Mark?
You know me, and I try to just stay out of the way of the officials.
Well, I've never been that good at that. So
you've argued with a few more of them than I have.
I have, and I mean they're going to miss calls. I think they're shocked that Ira Bennett could leave his feet, land, and get there on time for the block. I thought that one went the Zips way.
That will put
How's
Riak
that for
at
being
the line.
political correct?
Very good. That will put Riak at the line. And well, he's got a nice stroke, doesn't he?
He does, and I better look. Let's see if we were wrong here. Hey, we have the luxury of instant replay. You know that there was contact after he blocked the shot,
and you can see it there.
And usually the foul is not called when the contact's after the block shot.
Riak now has 8 in the game.
Okay, 1-3-1, Mark. Watch this. If the ball goes to the corner, it'll be a 2-3.
Here is Dillon rifling and connecting. Jeremy Dillon's first field goal in a Thundering Herd uniform, and he knocks it down. Big shot there. Dillon's played a lot of basketball for Marshall here tonight, and, well, that got it to 12.
Well, Dillon with a nice three. And, you know, Marshall able to get that three off before Akron switched. There it is. Now, Akron's going to a 2-3 right there, and Dillon says, I'm not going to wait for that 2-3. And that type of defense is usually more effective early in the game than late, because right now Marshall's looking to shoot three-pointers.
Marshall 5 of 16
While
in the three-point department.
While Akron is shooting 52%, 11 for 21. The big difference in the game. And last year for the Herd, that was 90% of the time the difference in the game of three-pointers was in favor of Marshall.
Nice look there at John Gross coaching up his crew. Outstanding leader of the Zips. Sharenitz knocked it out of the hands of Williams, but it will be Akron's basketball.
Now he can't run the offensive player cannot run the baseline. Look for Marshall to double team as soon as the ball's in. Here comes the double team. Quick double team. Gosh, great hustle by Jared West. And this is where I think college needs to go to the NBA game. And I don't like the NBA game, but right now the shot clock or the time in the backcourt should be at about 7. But in the college game, you reset it to 10. Here comes the double team.
Williams looking, bouncer over to Lauren Christian Jackson.
Now the shot clock's down to 18. You don't want to foul now. Marshall wants a good defensive possession and to try to cut it back to single digits.
Cheese with it in the corner, back to Jackson. Shot clock at 4. Jackson's floater good.
He's the man.
Jackson answers.
And he is able to run the shot clock down, get a basket. Excellent offense by Akron. Excellent job by Jackson. That was the perfect situation for the Zips.
He has 14. Or he has 24, forgive me, and Williams has 25. It's a 14-point lead. Here is Jared West. Scramble for the basketball. Dillon and Williams along with Kinsey. Possession arrow Marshall's way.
Well, gave him a timeout. Gave Akron a 30-second timeout.
Yep, so they will go to the benches for a brief moment. Here's what Akron has coming up against Southern on Sunday. They'll host Concord University from the Mountain East Conference here in West Virginia, Division II school. Play Tulane in the DC Holiday Hoops Fest. And depending on that, we'll come back on the 21st and finish up with UMass on the 30th of the month. Liberty or Towson would be the opponent on the 21st for Akron.
But Akron has a solid basketball team. Great point guard play. They have quick leapers. good shooters, shooting over 50% tonight. You keep those Ohio teams from coming in here. That's Toledo came in here with a really strong veteran team. Now Akron the same way. The difference I see in these two teams is experience. You know, next year at this time, Marshall's players will have gained 10 or 15 pounds and be stronger and look like the veteran players that Akron has.
The Toledo team will be next for Marshall. They'll face them for a second time this season. Played them earlier in the year here at the Cam Henderson Center, lost 96-70. So that is coming up this Sunday on the road for the Herd. Toledo picked to win the West Division of the MAC. Now, Akron was picked to finish only 5th in the East. Bowling Green, Buffalo, Kent, Miami, then Akron, followed by Ohio, John Gross's old team. And in the West, it was Toledo, Northern Illinois, Ball State, Central Michigan, Western Michigan, and Eastern Michigan. Here's what Marshall has in front of it. Moving forward in this month, Toledo, Bluefield State, then they'll play at Morehead State. Eastern Kentucky comes calling. And then it will be a trip to Northern Iowa, followed by a game in Cleveland against Duquesne. And of course, we've talked about what the MAC coaches voted on. In Conference USA, Marshall was picked to finish 11th. And, Dan D'Antoni's used that for some bulletin board material throughout this season. We see Cornelius Jackson, one of his great assistants. Got two guys on the staff who are West Virginia Player of the Year. Mark Klein, Cornelius Jackson.
I'll take Marshall's coaching staff in a game of 3-on-3.
All right, Dillon comes away with the basketball, and he was fouled by Cheese. Cheese will be finished for the night. There is Dustin Ford talking with John Gross. Darren Ford, who is Gino's son, who's the head coach at Stony Brook, he's a graduate assistant on this staff. It's a basketball family, isn't it?
Oh, it is. And Mark, I know your history of the game is unmatched. I'm still trying to find the difference in Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. And you're a walking encyclopedia. No, not encyclopedia was 15 years ago. A walking Google. Jeremy Dillon misses the free throw. This Marshall, that 14-13 area range, is not able to get over that hump and make this an exciting game at the end.
Again, Dillon hit that big three earlier, so 2:25 to go. That's going to put Jackson at the line.
And Jackson's been quiet the last 10 minutes, and he still has 24 points on 8 of 15 field goals, 4 of 7 threes, 4 of 4 from the line. He sold popcorn at halftime. He's done it all. I mean, he can play. That little fella can play.
He's been perfect at the line and still is. 6 for 6 at the line, 82-66. Jared Wist yo-yos with the basketball, gets it to Tavion Kinsey. Kinsey down to Cam Brooks-Harris, and Cam Brooks-Harris will put it through.
When that pick is set inside the three-pointer, it is the three-point line, it is so difficult to defend.
Cam Brooks-Harris down with 11.
Because that puts Kinsey in the range where he has an easy 15-footer. If you lay off of him, if you double him, it's an easy lob.
Jackson whips it back to Williams. Williams fires it up and can't get it to drop through. Jackson with 26, Williams with 25.
We go back to the same play on this side. Kinsey and Brooks-Harris.
Jared West, tough trip to the bucket, but he gets it to fall through, and in the process draws the foul. Jared West now with 14 in the game.
Tell you what, Jared West has that fight about him. He has that no-nonsense approach to the game, and I love his demeanor. He never quits. He gets to the basket. as an on-ball defender, he's the best that Marshall has. Finally broke that 13 mark with a three-point play. It's down to 11.
15 in the game for Jaron West as he flipped in the free throw. And they go after Williams, who had the basketball.
Williams is 10 for 22. He's shooting 55% threes. His first trip to the foul line, one of his 4 misses from three-point land was wide open. So let's see how he does wide open from the free throw line.
Shawrinitz with his 3rd foul.
Well, he's played a tremendous game. 25 points, 13 rebounds, 10 on the defensive end, Mark. We jinxed him on the foul line. I mean, look at that stat line. 25 points, 13 boards, and 10 of them are defensive.
Got started his career at Dayton. Has a very good basketball team. Played at Wayne High School, state championship game as a senior. They won it in Division I.
He just missed 2 free throws. That's a young team. The foul should have came immediately on Williams. You know that gets in your head a little bit. He just missed 2. He got the defensive rebound. Marshall did get into a good trap off of a missed shot, which is very difficult to do.
You see Jeremy Dillon there has picked up some quality minutes here tonight.
He has, and he's played tough. I don't know if the stat line shows it, 3 points, 2 rebounds, but he's been feisty, and Marshall needs a couple more of those guys that go in there and are just tough cookies like Jared West.
Not sure if he's going to get in the game, but I was hoping to see Dillon in the game against Scott Walter, a sophomore for Akron. He's a walk-on, but he played high school football there in Akron and was his school's 2nd career leading tackler ever. But
did you see Williams there? I mean, up 13 with 59 seconds. Shawrinitz coming in there full speed, and Williams stood there and took that charge. I mean, and that's the toughness. That's a tough guy. And he's been tough the entire night.
Yeah, it was on the topic of football there, and that was a football play right there.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so under a minute to go here. And Akron got that lead, build it up, and just made it tough to ever really quite chisel into it, that being Marshall. Here's Jackson, flips it up. Dillon gets the rebound. Dillon comes down the floor. Dillon in trouble, scooped up there by Kinsey. To West. West wants to attack, working against Ali and Jared West.
Jared West finds ways to finish around the basket.
He has 17. Timeout on the floor.
Now, that timeout is Coach D'Antoni trying to teach a young team to never give up.
Sure.
Down 11, 23 seconds. So Marshall's going to get into their press. They're going to try to get a 5-second call. If that doesn't work, they're going to try one hard trap and go for a steal, and then they may foul. Now, they may go for 2 traps. It'd be an 11-point game. If it was a 6-point game, they would go for 1 trap and then a foul. So this is a teaching moment for the Thundering Herd, and I know the fans are falling out of here, but as a coach, you have to take advantage of every second that you get in the game.
Keith Dambrot was the head coach at Akron for so many years, and guy that coached LeBron James, and then he took that Duquesne job, and Marshall will see Duquesne later this season. When Dambrot left,
you see what
Coach Gross came in.
Did you see what Akron tried there?
Yes.
So Akron working for later in the season. They made the initial pass out of bounds by the point guard, and then went back inbounds to the point guard. So they were able to get some practice on that for later in the year. And I'll tell you what, both of these teams are extremely well coached.
Well, Brooks Harris has left the game, and back in is Luke Thomas. Thomas played earlier. Here's Banks. And Banks has been waiting to score, and finally he does.
I've been very impressed with Akron tonight. Just solid guard play, solid wing play.
Banks could not get that one to drop. Here comes Jared West. Kinsey on the drive, and Kinsey going to be called for the charge as Banks is on the receiving end.
Yeah, that's a positive veteran team, and instead of letting Kinsey score, they're going to keep taking charges and play until the end of the game. I think this Akron team has a chance to be really, really good. Marshall again in their press. They're going to double team as soon as the ball comes in.
Tribble to Williams, and Williams, John Gross says nope, hold it up. Well, this was a hard-fought battle, and it is the Akron Zips winning over the Thundering Herd of Marshall by a count of 85-73. Marshall falls to 2-5, and Akron improves to 6-2. Akron hosting Southern on the 8th. Marshall visits Toledo on the same day. Toledo now leads the series 15-13, and it was Lauren Christian Jackson with 28 to lead the way tonight, and it was Jared West with 17, Bob Bowler.
Well, you got to put the ball in the basket. Akron 11 for 22 threes. Marshall 5 for 17 threes.
All right, for Bob Bowler and our great crew, this is Mark Martin. Good night from Marshall University in Huntington. Akron wins over the Thundering Herd.